Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. Man, that comes on me. That comes up on you fast. I need to change the sticker so I can hear it again. Well, guys, yesterday was nuts. The overnight looks nuts, and I think we might be in for a nuts day today. I don't know if I'm actually. I'm going to be a little bit conservative, overly conservative with my count here today, I think. Let me show you why. So we're coming in here. Just first note, really huge range yesterday. Not the biggest, but a pretty huge range there in the treasuries. And you can see here, really nasty move down. And yeah, well, we thought that maybe it was going to go on forever. It did not. And it reversed back hard, quite hard. A lot of that recovered in the treasuries, but in the S&P 500, they actually moved higher, 2% higher. Wow. Totally nuts, right? Right? Let's look at a couple of other assets. Oil up. Natural gas hasn't moved. Gold and silver actually kind of maybe pushing a little bit lower here today. Kappa maybe a little bit up. Bitcoin also saw pretty good like dip and rise. And the dollar, the dollar is well, it was below 112 at one point. The dollar's looking a lot better. I think that a lot of this like recovery that we got in the S&P 500 was probably driven by the dollar. Also, options got to be at play here, right? The VIX did. I don't have VIX charts, unfortunately, to show you, but VIX actually went down after the release. So I think that people, had big positions on and took them off. Now, yep, you guys are already on top of it. The in the UK, the Chancellor, or sorry, the what is her name? Liz Truss is reportedly going to completely reverse. She's going to come back. She's going to increase corporate taxes, and Kwarteng is going to be sacked. That is the news right now, is that he is going to be sacked, and that she's going to have a news conference, time to be determined, to announce her reversal or whatever the deal was. Kind of inevitable because everybody hated it. Like, everybody hated it. The market hated it, and the British public hated it. And yeah, I got smoked tonight in the European session on Truss pulling back from. Really? Yeah. So when you come here into the treasuries, that news yesterday makes you really want to go short the treasuries, doesn't it? And it worked really well for us to trade. Excuse me. The trade yesterday worked really well for us, but now, we're retracing all of that back. So, we could possibly have a positive day here, which is kind of funny, right? Oh, we do get retail sales here in about a minute too, by the way, which retail sales is a really big number. I don't think that I personally pay attention to it enough, but it is one of the most indicative numbers of the economy. So we do want to take a look at those. Estimate is spot 2%, with core retail sales expected to be negative spot 1%. I tell you what, if that retail sales is a positive, that would probably not be very good for the bonds again. So let's just see. But just keep in mind, orders are what moves the market, right? So we could get all sorts of crazy moves that are not in line with the fundamentals. Okay, so core retail sales is spot one. That probably will be higher rates. Here. Man, look at the S&P 500. Gonna try this sim trade here. So core was spot one versus negative spot one, and retail sales, the headline retail sales number was 0 versus an expected spot two. So well, so far not looking too hot. This is an interesting song. Is anybody out there? That's the name of this song. Something that I think is just so weird is like volatility clusters. Okay, sure. So I totally understand why the stock market would do that. Like if the day before was really high range, then you're likely to have really high range the next day, right? But what I don't understand is why like big news events seem to cluster too. It's like here we had CPI and now Liz Truss is reversing. It all happens all at the same time. It's really crazy. And it often results in these situations where like you end up with a really clear economic signal. Like I think that CPI was a really, really bad sign for inflation, right? Really, really bad sign. And at the end of the day, it wasn't what drove things. You would think that number was such a big deal, and there was so much positioning going into it and everything that would have been the thing that matters. But now, like, what's going to happen is all of the technical traders, at least, are going to come out and say, well, Liz Truss mattered more than CPI, right? And I just find that so fascinating. That it maybe it's all just a roll of the die, but it seems like this isn't the only time it's turned out like this. Mohammed A. El Arian, depending of course on the details of the policy reset announced by Prime Minister Truss, most of the damage of the last 3 weeks is reversible, but importantly, it will require time and steadfast policy implementation that delivers on both growth and financial stability. So that's what they're focused on. I have to say, yesterday, you know, because I did good yesterday, right? So I was looking at that move and I was like, if you lost money on this, maybe you're doing something wrong. And it seems like you guys did well. Some of you guys did get some big winners, right? But I was excited to kind of go out around and see what people had done, and I kind of felt like we were the only ones that did well. I was especially so like I was I stopped because, you know, we were talking about the numbers the other day. I was like, why do I get less views than some of these other streams? It's really weird. There's got to be something about the algorithm, something we're doing wrong, because when I go and I watch other streams, they're not really any different than ours at all, and we have just like a better overall quality of a stream. And they were not doing well. The people, I looked at 3 or 4 streams and they were not doing well. They were getting absolutely creamed by that roaring reversal in the S&P 500 yesterday. It was just, it was so weird to watch. I mean, the move was wild. You say you watched it mostly. If I was an equities trader, I don't think that there's any way that I would have been buying on that. like I understand why it happened, and I can look at it after the fact and be like, oh, of course. But there's no way at the moment that I would have been saying, oh yeah, the options positioning and everything is actually going to end up being more powerful than the actual CPI news. You know, that's just like so crazy to me. Let's see here. What did you guys do? Captain Price says impulsive. After 88s, it pulled liquidities to 20s up and away. Okay. Kevin, I decided to step away after 2 decent shorts, and I am happy. If I would have stayed, I would have been slaughtered by the reversal. I was super short biased for it. Yeah, totally. I mean, so I came in and I took the short, and then I took $50, and I probably could have made a lot more than that. But there's no way that I would have. Well, actually, I take that back, because I did exit my sim trade, didn't I? Although the reasons that I exited the sim trade, I think were just kind of a coincidence, because it had nothing to do with I think that the S&P 500 is gonna buy on the open and completely reverse. No way. It was like I was seeing scary stuff in the 6J. That's why I got out. So it had nothing to do with any of that. Yeah, I think that if I was trading the SPOOs, I probably would have been on the wrong side of it. But how did I, how did I deal with that? Well, the first trade is the best trade. I'm telling you, like, I really hate heuristics in trading, and I think that a lot of people have all of these kind of heuristics that are like really dumb and not useful. But that one has done more for me than probably any other kind of suggestion. First trade is usually the best trade. You come in, we have a big move off of CPI, you get a little bit off of that first move, and then you get out. because what's it gonna do? It's either one, it's either going to reverse hard on you, or it's gonna slow down and go sideways. And yeah, maybe 5% of the time it actually ends up being a trend day where it just goes like way more crazy than you think it will. But when you have a piece of news that like went like freaking 20 basis points, like it's kind of hard to keep that up, you know? It's kind of hard for the traders to keep that up. And smart traders already planned for gap fill. Maybe. I mean, I didn't run across anybody that said they made money. My mom said, she's like, oh, my boss made like $80,000 the other day. It's like, what? But I kind of wondered, because he did it with options. And I'm like thinking about it now, like, there's no way he sold his options. Maybe he lost. Maybe he had 80K and lost all of his winnings. It's just the way that it goes. But I'm telling you, but I'm really happy about it from yesterday, because how many times has it been now? Can you guys, especially you guys, have been around for a long time, Kevin and Captain Price. A lot of you guys. Oh, Zach, you've been here a lot recently. You seem really dedicated, and I'm really happy for you. But can't you guys think of all those times, like especially before the pandemic, where it was like, here's the big moment. Here's where we should be able to make the big money, you know, and I screw it up. How many times has that happened? So many freaking times where I felt like I messed it up on the big one, right? Or I got it right like initially, and then I gave it all back, right? I've done that so many times, and we've been through like 3 or 4 volatility events now where like I did really well on them, right? And why did that change? Because I know that I can only make a really narrow prediction. There are narrow situations where I have a really high probability of being able to predict the future orders. And once I get past that point and I see like the liquidity hole, I don't really know anymore. It just turns into chaos, so I don't mess with it anymore. And that's how I'm able to get away with it. I'm seasoned, but was tired to be thinking so fast it moved without me. Well, I gotta say the other thing is that you know, especially if you're focusing on price, right? That sort of move in the S&P 500 is going to be like really nasty, right? I think yesterday's CPI move in S&P was options driven. It will come back to reality. Yeah, I think so. I think that today, because of the whole UK thing, that probably, so I don't like that. I'm gonna reduce some risk here. That way, if it does come out here at the top, I only lose 100. So there's a big order down below me, and I was seeing a little bit of aggressive and impulsive pushing back up. And it's been more than 10 minutes since the retail sales number. So it seems to, because retail sales was kind of like the original premise for the trade. In fact, I might just completely get out here. Let's see. It just doesn't seem like it's really going or playing out. So I think that this sim trade is time to cut it loose. But yeah, I mean, to make a trade like that, you would have had to have been looking at the options positioning and saying like that this is going to have to unwind. Be a hard call to make. Doesn't sound like you guys got hit too hard. It sounds like those of you that were kind of like felt like you were, like Captain Price is saying, yeah, it would have been a nasty day, but I didn't touch it. So I think that means that we're all learning together, right? And we've kind of learning the same things. That like sometimes we just don't know what's going to happen. You avoid anomaly events. I mean, if I got a good headline, I'm all about trying to get in line with it, but so with the UK, if a similar event was going on over here in the US, then maybe I would play it, right? But this UK nonsense, it's like I just don't understand what's going on there very well. I've decided, because every time that I think I do, like it doesn't really do what I expect, and like the most important moves happen when I'm not there. So it just seems like when that ends up being the dominant factor at the time, that I don't do very well. So it's kind of better for me to just watch when that's what's driving us. Okay, so I guess he has been fired. I don't know if they've... Jeremy Hunt appointed as new chancellor. That was not any of the names that I had seen on the short list. And another thing that happens too, like this is a really weird setup. I can't think of the last time that we had like really crazy move on Thursday and then kind of quiet Friday. I mean, wait, retail sales is a big number. Retail sales is a big number. It was kind of mixed because the used car sales weren't very good, but so I don't know if this completely counts as like a no news Friday, right? But it's not really reacting too much to it, so that I'm not going to make anything on this. I'm just going to cut it loose. NQ was almost was a 5% move on NQ. Like if you were in there with micros, man, that was a move. Yeah. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. You mentioned NASDAQ, and I'm thinking, are we gonna get the new Jigsaw version today? Oh yeah, I gotta respond to Casey. Maybe I'll do that on Monday. Well, I don't got anything in my email yet. Oh. Oh. The institutional package has been reduced from $22.99 to $19.79, so it's like $300 cheaper, I guess. Well, we'd like to take most of the credit for this. The fact that the UK currency has dropped so much recently has helped us pass this. And it's all reversing today, though. Actually, okay. Oh boy. They've been up to things over at Jigsaw, but I think okay. So we may get a new Jigsaw version today. It's not. I don't think they're done. They were crunching. That makes me a little nervous. Don't crunch and don't release on a Friday. Well, actually, maybe you do want to release. Maybe this sort of thing you do want to release on a Friday. I don't know. I don't know how this was working. When I'm at work and like I have something big to change, I never do it on a Friday. It's always better to come in and do it like Monday, Tuesday. And then you've got all week to try and iron out whatever problems result from it. So by the way, that trade in ZN, like I was mostly trading off of retail sales. So, you know, I had that order down there. I guess I really was looking for small thing because I had that other order and I was kind of thinking if it got there, I didn't really think that it was really gonna run or anything. The bubbles on Jigsaw review. Well, but you can adjust it, right? On Jigsaw. You can make it small and then there's like lots of bubbles and almost too many. But like it's kind of an interesting thing. Okay. The book map, well, I don't know really know what they were thinking about when they were making it, what their goals were and everything. But you notice that the book map one is really more of like, it's really more about like being really in the weeds about it. Like people want to have it on a really short time frame and they want to see the number going up and down real fast and all of the bubbles everywhere and stuff. And a lot of the other charts that like that, a lot of people have made it like that. Whereas the Jigsaws is kind of more of like a high level overview, you know. I think that's because the Jigsaw perspective of it is that if you really want to see what's going on, you want to watch the DOM and you want to see the actual numbers. Like that's the thing. That's what I kind of don't like about the Vista chart. Like when I say I kind of don't like it, what I mean is I really wish that more retail traders just said, I want to learn the DOM, because like the number matters. I'm telling you, like the number really, really matters. So just there was 600 contracts taken at 2 levels. That's really bullish. I mean, the trend is up anyways, and I don't, things can flip around. The key thing you got to remember is that orders are what moves the markets, and future market orders can do whatever they want. But right now it does look like there is some sort of subtle market buying going on here, and they are at times being somewhat aggressive, right? So it took 600 contracts to push through there, that they were able to pull that many out of nowhere is really bullish, right? And you can't see that on the Vista charts. I'm going to call it Vista chart. Maybe I should just call it Bookmap. You can't see that on the Bookmap. And I think that people get drawn to Bookmap just because it looks pretty. Whereas this column with like a trillion numbers is like really intimidating. But really what you're doing here in the DOM is really more simple to look at and is more helpful, I think. Just has the least lag compared to anything else you've used. Okay. So you know what's something that I've been doing that it's been an interesting exercise for me is I'm getting into Rust, and as I've been learning a little bit more about Rust, I've been thinking about it with, okay, what if I wrote a trading platform in Rust? And what I'm starting to realize is how much we rely on other libraries in our applications, and you would maybe never even realize it. So like in Rust, one of the first things in Rust that you want to have is a window management library. So there's like WinInt is the most popular one. And all this library does is help you create a window and do things when you like resize the window or close the window and all of that. That's all the library is, right? How do they do that in C++, right? Like they have to do those sorts of things, right? And so often you're using somebody else's abstracted library on top of it. So when it comes down to like the DOM, for instance, it's usually the case that you're kind of relying on somebody else's thing to some extent to make it. So I think that Jigsaw took like an existing control and then they kind of modified it to be more specific to their performant use case, right? But if I'm going to go and make one in Rust, I have to do it all from scratch. And you're talking about like really low level stuff. Would be very, very difficult to make my own DOM in Rust, right? And then all of these other things, like how do you deal with the updates in the program from a high level, especially when things get really crazy, right? Do you just run every 100 milliseconds? You run all of the data and then there's a queue and things can just get backed up? I think that's what a lot of programs do. Right? And there's kind of all this stuff like concurrency and stuff that there are actually some things that you can do to like actively control the processor's like task switching for performance and stuff like that. It's like wild, right? Jigsaw is solid when things are moving. Yeah, it is. Like yesterday, I turned NinjaTrader 8 off basically, and Jigsaw handled it like a champ. No, there was no slowdowns at all. Rhythmic was also on par yesterday too. I think that there's been a couple of times where Rhythmic has kind of failed us a little bit, but yesterday Rhythmic was good. Yeah, so like with Sierra, I kind of look at that and I wonder, okay, so how are they doing it? So like if I do it in Rust, and I made my own charts in Rust, for instance, that's kind of the thing, is because I was looking at it, I was like, well, drawing bars, I've done that in C#. So, well, but in Rust, it's like you got all these choices. So like I can use libraries that already kind of abstract that stuff away and give me a C# like library, but it might not be quite as fast as if I really did it all by hand. But if I really do it all by hand, then I'm literally talking about low level rasterization graphics card stuff, which is pretty like, wow, you know, low level stuff. And my understanding is that some of this low level programming is really hyper esoteric. It's like you're dealing with these window libraries that like hardly anybody ever wants to deal with, right? It seems like a problem that's been solved. Well, yes and no, because one, they haven't necessarily been solved in Rust, and two, they haven't necessarily been solved in a way that is optimal for trading. You get what I'm saying? So if you were doing algorithmic trading, it would absolutely be to your advantage to do it all yourself. You know what I mean? Because I've been seeing some of my guys on LinkedIn that are in high frequency trading and stuff, and they were talking about, you know, kind of old techniques that people don't really use anymore because processor scheduling is really, really good, but basically techniques to control somewhat how the processor schedules things so that your task gets done as fast as possible. And apparently when you're talking milliseconds, it does matter. The dollar is getting creamed here, man. Mostly coming from the British pound. But really it's really overall, it's just overall dollar weakness. Tried Zora? No, I've never heard of that. What is that? Is that a language? Oh, it's an API for C/C++. Okay, but so here's the other thing, man. After going through all of this, I really think that Rust is the future. I really think that C and C++ is gonna die. Like, there's going to be a lot of legacy code, so it's going to be around for a long time, and Rust probably won't overtake it for a few decades. And there is this Carbon thing that Google is putting out to kind of improve things for C++ somewhat, because the standards are kind of lagging behind what they need, and they still got stuff that's C++. But they've been working to get Rust into the Linux kernel, and now you finally have portions of code in the Linux kernel that are Rust. So that's something that's going on right now. And just using Rust was such a joy. Like, have you ever done this sort of thing where it's like, okay, I want to do something and I want to try this new language, or I want to try this repository that I saw out there. And so you go to install, you know, you go to run it and it won't compile. I have to go and I download this thing, and I have to go and download this thing, and yada, 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 right? And it's a total pain. And yeah, your language might have a package manager, but like, it's not perfect. And they have a really hard time resolving dependencies and all of that sort of a thing, because when those languages were created, that wasn't like a primary concern. Like, this is one of the reasons I personally, I mean, I could be wrong, but like JavaScript, you can like write servers in JavaScript now, which is really seems kind of silly, doesn't it? Like, right, like the whole node concept is just seems stupid to me, right? But it's actually really fun to use it in practice. Why? Because npm is so great, and there is just like a trillion libraries for just absolutely anything that you'd ever want to do in JavaScript, right? And then when you want to go over and do something in C++, it's just like a living hell trying to deal with that sort of a thing, right? Well, Rust is like using NPM. They have a package manager called Cargo, and the language was built with the package manager in mind. I'm sure some of you guys that aren't into programming, you're kind of like, what the hell is he talking about? But the basic gist of it is that if I need to use somebody else's library, it's really easy for me to do it. All I have to do is put in this requirements file that I'm using this library. Maybe if I need to use a specific version of the library, I can specify the specific version, and then like everything is registered with Cargo. So it handles everything else for you. So you just come in, and when you want to build the project, Cargo goes and finds them for you. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to, or like some of these other languages, it's been like, yeah, you can do that in C++, but you're gonna have to write your own build script and add all. Cargo does all of it. All you got to do is say Cargo build, and it does it all, and you're done. And it has a very consistent like file structure. It's like all of these problems are solved for you by the language. It's so cool. And then on top of that, it's really good at its job. So I had a banana and a sandwich, but I'm feeling a little woozy at the moment. I don't know what my deal has been, but maybe I'm just not eating enough in the morning. I don't know. I feel a little bit like gassed. I was kind of like that yesterday and the day before, though, wasn't I? Now, I'm warning you. Rust is low level programming, right? It's like C++, and there's like lots of new concepts, so there's a lot to learn, but I thought it was really cool. And now whether or not I ever make a trading platform off of it remains to be seen. I picked it up and was trying to create that timer thing, right? And I got stuck because I couldn't figure out how to make the window transparent, but I think I know how to do that now. So maybe this weekend I can get that and try and make my own timer app. But I think this weekend, I don't know if we're going to be able to work on the desk because we've ordered supplies, but I don't think they come. I don't know if they'll be here by Saturday. So I don't think we're going to be able to work on the table today. But so I think this weekend, no, the timer hasn't gotten very far at all. The timer is right now is still in like, I'm downloading different AP or I'm downloading examples that do certain parts that I would need. So like I have an example that draws a clock in I forget what it's called, but it works. It draws a clock, but I need to make the background transparent. I couldn't figure out how to do that. I think I know how to do that now, but it's not going to be a clock. It's going to be like a little thing that goes at the bottom of the screen that says, here's the time now, and here's when this event happens. And yeah, I think it'll be cool. And I want to make it look cool. I want to make it look like an Evangelion timer or something. That'd be cool. I have kind of wondered though if it would make sense to make it like make it in rain meter. You ever used rain meter? But I kind of looked at it as an excuse to get more into Rust, and I'm glad that I did because everything I've seen in Rust so far is really cool. Jeez, financial juice, you're a little loud there. But yeah, the thing on like the platform is that like one of the big goals is to build stuff in machine learning. So, and I think that the machine learning side will actually come from doing Python and integrating stuff with NinjaTrader. So going full bore on Rust might not happen for a bit. But I'm not planning on spending too much time programming this weekend. I think the most important things that I got to do this weekend is I got to do another practice test for the Series 65 exam. If not 2 or 3, I have the time. And I need to do some writing. So I might, if Jigsaw puts this feature out, then I wanna because I've been waiting on this version of Jigsaw to make a video. So I might put a video out on that. If I don't, then I will probably make a video with the workspace walkthrough. Might be able to do that this afternoon. But then like the PDF thing that we've been telling you, you guys are really interested in that, and I'm really interested in writing it. So I definitely want to get that one out. Let's see here. What do I have on my list here? Yeah, workspace video, the timer. A video on the macro stuff. That one's really hard. I wish there was like just a book that taught you everything about macro that you need. There probably is a book, but I haven't read it. Macroeconomics is a thing that like I feel like I've just kind of picked it up little bit by little bit on the. Oh, you know what? That reminds me. I wanted to do something this morning. So I was reading yesterday about the shelter component of CPI. Because the shelter component of CPI was spot 7 month over month. That was in line with the estimate that Goldman Sachs was making. But, you know, the overall CPI was much higher than the market expected still. And that housing component is a really big part of why, right? And the whole thing is that people have been saying that it's going to come back down. So why is that? Well, the way that it works, and I made a TikTok about this, but the way that it works is that they get that number by going out to a bunch of different houses that they have selected and seeing how much the residents are paying in rent and utilities together. And if there's nobody there, then they put in the equivalent of what the landlord would be, you know, getting for it. And they only come to these houses every like 6 months because like in order for the price to change, like either your lease has to expire or the people have to move or whatever. And so the result is that number, it takes a long time to change, right? So there's another more responsive indicator, or like a Zillow, for instance. Zillow comes in and they have one that says, what are landlords asking for rent, right? And that tends to be a much faster, quicker indicator, right? Well, and that indicator has been declining for several months now. In fact, it's been declining for about 6 months. So like we're looking at it and it's like, well, this tends to lead by 6 months, but it's already been 6 months. So shouldn't we be seeing the decline now in the shelter component of CPI? And yet it's up 0.7, right? So I was thinking, let's put some stuff into some spreadsheets and let's figure out for sure if it's really time to be seeing it yet or not. Yeah. So I think the first thing that I want to do is I want to pull up owner equivalence rent. Owner equivalent rent. I think that should be owner equivalent rent of residence in U.S. city average. That is not the data series that I was seeing. Okay, wait. Versus Zillow rent index, because like there was like pictures. Yeah, this is like this. You see this? No, that's a super, super tiny one. There we go. Open image in new tab. Here's the one that I was looking at. So Zillow observed rent index. Oh, okay. Yeah. Owner equivalent rent is the one that we haven't seen come back yet. So that seems correct. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking Zillow rent. Zillow rent index. Housing data, Zillow research. Most current. Blah, 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 methodology, blah, 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 blah. Nope, that's not it. Maybe it's this one. Data type. All homes. Seasonally adjusted. So I think that's the one that we want. Metro and US. Oh, rentals. Zori, smooth. Okay, I got two choices. I've got just the regular one or seasonally adjusted. Is owner equivalent rent is owner equivalent rents seasonally adjusted? Oh, it is seasonally adjusted. Is that the same? Consumer price index. Oh, what's the difference between these? Updated October 13th. Oh, I think that the difference here is just the time frame that I'm seeing. Yeah. These are actually the same chart. Yep. Okay. So we do want the seasonally adjusted one. Download. Oh, geography, Metro and US. Download. Where should we put this? We put it in our workspace here. I'll call it econ and save. And then this one over here. I know there's like a download cell. Oh, what did it save the other one as? Oh, CSV. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So let's open up the Zillow one. What will you be able to do with the Series 65? Nothing. So a Series 65 is to be a registered financial advisor. So if I either got together with an investing advisor and registered with them, or I started my own investing advisor, I would then be able to give people investing advice for money. Okay, interesting. So they gave me the columns. That's kind of funny. 831. What's this last one? 9/30. Oh, but we don't get 10. I guess they haven't done 10 yet. Okay, but this is the whole shebang, right? Okay, that's interesting. Not quite what we would want it to be done as, but let's open up this one now. That's more like what we want to see, right? Okay, so I'm going to open a third window here if I can. Yep, okay. Copy this. Actually, I'll do it. Oh, man. Control C. Control V. Okay. So now I can close this worksheet. Don't save. No. Okay, now the question is, how do I flip the data? I've never done that before. Excel, convert columns to two rows, I think. Transpose. Transpose is what I want. Oh, okay. Paste options. Transpose. Well, make sure they don't overlap. Fine. Transpose. Yes. Okay. Deleted. Deleted. Remove column. Come on. Delete. Delete. Okay. Now, I'm going to come over here to this one and copy this one too. This one's only going back to 2020. But I think that should be okay. Actually, no. Can I get it bigger? Can I get it more? Can I say max download? So. Okay. Okay, so what I just heard on the news squawk is that the railroad strike is being extended. So, yeah, that's not good. Okay, so how far back are we coming here? 2018? Which month? 2018? 2018. Okay. So starting from here, Control C. Control V. I think that will be a little bit closer. Right. 6:30, and then the next day, 7:01. Yes. Okay. And yeah, this one doesn't have October yet. Gotcha. Okay, so now we should. Oh, wait, what? With the what? Oh, that's not what I wanted at all. I want to go all the way back to 2015, actually. Oh, okay. 331. Oh, okay. Truss is on TV now. You guys want to watch it? So I've got a video feed of Downing Street, and I can just hear people yelling in the street. By the way, good morning, Scott. Okay. So I digress. All this junk we're gonna just delete. And all this we're just gonna delete. Thank you. Okay, and now we are going to insert a chart, I think. Yeah, one of these. I don't know if I want to use the regular one or the stacked one. I use the regular one. Okay. Select data. There we go. Oh yeah, we'll close this other spreadsheet too, by the way. My machine is being a little slow this morning. I think it's just because Excel is a monster, but... Morning, Matthew. What updates is Jigsaw offering? I don't think I'm supposed to say. I don't think I'm supposed to say. You're just gonna have to wait and see what the feature is. Here's what's gonna happen is I'm gonna be like, this changes everything, this is so big, and I'm gonna say that in the video, and I honestly believe that, and everybody's gonna be like, I don't see what the big deal is. You'll see. You'll see. Okay. So I think that you want to say, no, series values is this right here. Fine. I forget how to do this properly in Excel. So this one is Zillow, and this one is CPI. Date. Select the data. There's an error. Maybe it's supposed to be this one. No, that's not right. I don't think that's right either. I think I have them backwards, but I'm going to see what it does. It'd be fun. No, don't like that. Some things in Excel I feel are needlessly complicated. I feel like I go through this every time. The maximum number of data series per chart is 255. Yeah, the functions are not intuitive and overly complicated. Wait, how many data points do I have? I don't have more than 255. I only have like a few dozen. Less than 100. Okay, it's not showing me Downing Street anymore. Now it's showing me a press conference room. I mean, I know I've done a chart in Excel before, but I just don't remember. Hold on a second. Is there something else going on on my system slowing me down? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, that might help a little bit. Yeah, that is helping a little bit. Okay. This one should be Zillow. Okay. Okay. I would have thought that was as soon as I selected it would do it correctly. But okay, so here she's speaking.
That isn't feeling the benefits of growth. I saw what that meant, and I'm not prepared to accept that for our country. I want a country where people can get good jobs, new businesses can set up, and families can afford an even better life. That's why, from day one, I've been ambitious for growth. Since the 2008 financial crisis, the potential of this great country has been held back by persistently weak growth. I want to deliver a low-tax, high-wage, high-growth economy. It's what I was elected by my party to do. That mission remains. People across this country rightly want stability. That's why we acted to support businesses and households with their energy costs this winter. It's also the case that global economic conditions are worsening due to the continuation of Putin's appalling war in Ukraine. And on top of this, debt was amassed helping people through the COVID pandemic. But it is clear that parts of our mini-budget went further and faster than markets were expecting. So the way we are delivering our mission right now has to change. We need to act now to reassure the markets of our fiscal discipline. I have therefore decided to keep the increase in corporation tax that was planned by the previous government. This will raise £18 billion per year.
Okay, so that is what
It will
we were
act
told.
as a down payment on our full medium-term fiscal plan, which will be accompanied by a forecast from the independent OBR. We will do whatever is necessary to ensure debt is falling
She
as
cost
a
you a
share
lot of money.
the economy in the medium term. We will control the size of the state to ensure that taxpayers' money is always well spent. Our public sector will become more efficient to deliver world-class services for the British people. And spending will grow less rapidly than previously planned. I met the former Chancellor earlier today. I was incredibly sorry to lose him. He is a great friend, and he shares my vision to set this country on the path to growth. Today, I have asked Jeremy Hunt to become the new Chancellor. He's one of the most experienced and widely respected government ministers and parliamentarians, and he shares my convictions and ambitions for our country. He will deliver the medium-term fiscal plan at the end of this month. He will see through the support we are providing to help families and businesses, including our energy price guarantee that's protecting people from higher energy bills this winter. And he will drive our mission to go for growth, including taking forward the supply-side reforms that our country needs. We owe it to the next generation to improve our economic performance, to deliver higher wages, new jobs, and better public services, and to ease the burden of debt. I have acted decisively today because my priority is ensuring our country's economic stability. As Prime Minister, I will always act in the national interest. This is always my first consideration. I want to be honest, this is difficult, but we will get through this storm, and we will deliver the strong and sustained growth that can transform the prosperity of our country for generations to come. I'll now take questions. Can I start with Ben Riley-Smith, Telegraph?
Thank you, Prime Minister. Clearly a difficult day. Can you explain to the public why you think you should remain as Prime Minister, given you jumped a key tax cut that led you to be elected and got rid of your Chancellor?
Man,
I'm absolutely
UK journalists are so brutal.
through what I have promised, to deliver a higher growth, more prosperous United Kingdom, to see us through the storm we face. We've already delivered the energy price guarantee, making sure people aren't facing huge bills this winter. But it was right, in the face of the issues that we had, that I acted decisively to ensure that we have economic stability, because that is vitally important to people and businesses right across our country. Harry Cole.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
She's like, who was I supposed to ask?
You were the one that wanted the 55p rate. You stood on the
I
platform
love it when the politicians do that.
of the party
Oh, man.
corporation tax. You and the Chancellor, the ex-Chancellor, designed this budget together, in lockstep, we're told, at times in secret, the two of you. He has to go because of the fallout from it. How come you get to stay?
Well, my priority is making sure we deliver the economic stability that our country needs. That's why I had to take the difficult decisions I've taken today. The mission remains the same. We do need to raise our country's economic growth levels. We do need to deliver for people across the country. We're committed to delivering on the energy price guarantee, which people are already seeing in their bills. But ultimately, we also need to make sure that we have economic stability, and I have to act in the national interest as Prime Minister. Chris Mason, BBC.
Excuse the bluntness, Prime Minister, but given everything that has happened, what credibility do you have to continue governing?
What I've done today is made sure that we have economic stability in this country. Jeremy Hunt, as Chancellor, is somebody who shares my desire for a high-growth, low-tax economy. But we recognise, because of current market issues, we have to deliver the mission in a different way. And that's what we are absolutely committed to do, achieving that stability at what is a very difficult time globally. Robert Peston.
Prime Minister, the former Tory Chancellor, Philip Hammond, has just said that you have totally trashed the Tory party's election-winning reputation for economic competence. Will you apologise to your party?
Well, I am determined to deliver on what I set out when I campaigned to be party leader. We need to have a high-growth economy, but we have to recognise that we are facing very difficult issues as a country. And it was right, in the national interest, that I made the decisions I've made today to restore that economic stability so we can deliver, first of all, helping people through this winter and next winter with their energy bills, but also making sure that our country is on the long-term footing for sustainable economic growth. Thank you very much, everybody.
Aren't you going to say sorry?
That's it. That's all she's gonna give him. So I think that was like, we have to let the press talk, but we didn't. She didn't want to let them go on for too long. Because if you just go without doing anything, then they think you're a coward or whatever. But okay, so I think I'm making some progress here. Select data. Oh. Let's try this again. Yes. Series X values. 8. Okay. Series X values. 8. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. That's better. Much better, right? Okay, well, so what I'm getting for the Zillow price index is not coming back down. You think that Truss is next after Kwarteng is gone? Help me out here, guys. Am I missing something? Hmm. Ah. I think I've been misinformed about something somewhere. Seasonally, maybe it's because seasonally adjusted? Man, the market did not like Liz there, did they? Why did they not like that so much? Look at that, they got hammered. After like going nowhere. That's really weird. I mean, it looks like they may be okay for now, but come on. Suppose. Oh. Even with non-seasonally adjusted values, Zwei is not coming down. We're at the highest in September was the highest levels it had seen. I've said so where did they get this thing? Oh gosh, where's the better? The bigger chart. Oh, this is so weird. I'm having a hard time at getting it to show me a big version of it here. See, here's the chart, but that's a teeny tiny version of it. There, that's a little bit better. Okay. Let me get rid of this one. Okay. CPI primary rent is this dotted orange-ish line. That's orange, right? Zillow observed rent index smooth is this thing that's rolling over here. Okay. And when I come and I do a spreadsheet with the data from Zillow, that's not what I get. Now, hold on. I'm going to come in here, change a few things. Select data. I wish it would show me the dates. $831. That is not coming down. Here where they're saying it should be coming down, or it was coming down, the data series that I got says that it did not. Zori. That's what I downloaded. Zori Smooth. Metro Zori Smooth. Seasonally adjusted. And the one that I took was everything, right? Maybe I'm taking the wrong column or the wrong row. So here's all these bunch of different locales. And that's like the whole country, right? Am I doing this wrong? And here's like Zuri. See, here's... I'm not trying to replicate. I mean, I just straight pulled it out. Am I not? Did I not? Am I? Okay, so you probably came in here halfway. So let me try and explain what I'm trying to do. Okay. So here's this chart. Here's somebody's version of the chart. And when they look at Zillow observed rent index, it's declining. Okay. Now this tends to what do we say? Tends to lead the CPI observed what is it they call it owner equivalent rents, tends to lead owner equivalent rents. So the objective is to figure out by how much. Should we be seeing this decline in the data yet? That's the question. So I went to Zillow's website here, and they've got Zillow observed rent index, blah, 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 right? And then you get this spreadsheet. So I thought that it was just this first line here, but it seems like that is not the case. Maybe this number is for just the country, like the country regions, and it's not like the full index. So if that's true, then how do I get the actual index value that all these people are pulling out? Try charting the log change of the values. Well, okay, so you're saying like the delta of the values, but the issue with that is still that like the number is not like actually decreasing. Like these numbers aren't going negative, it just keeps getting stronger. How would I chart the log change of the values? Okay. Insert. What would be a formula to do that? Equals this minus this. Divided by this. T meaning this. So wait, you're saying equals ln of this divided by this minus 1? Oh, T minus 1 being... Okay. I understand. ln of T minus T minus 1. A couple of them actually gives me not a number. I'm pretty sure that the data series that I got is just not right, though. Maybe. T3 minus B2, T3 minus D2. Hold on. Three, two. I don't know why that one is negative, but okay. So this one, it's saying that we started moving up in June of 2020. And that was the bottom. At this one, it was October 2020. So this one is supposedly three months leading. But I'm pretty confident. Like look at this spreadsheet. Region ID, United States region type country. So this is all the major metro areas, and then this top one is country. So I think that what I'm looking at is not the actual index value. It's just the country areas of the so I'm getting like the sub data, but not the index itself. Where do we get this? Sorry, methodology. Better reflect the rates are assigned, measuring the prevalence of units being rented that are built. Structure U. Calculating the index. Which one? You mean this right here? I think that it may be true, but I don't think that what this orange line right here, this is not Zori. It is the country only component of Zori. Does that make sense? So of course they would be correlated, but I don't think that it's quite that. The repeated transaction methodology to use the calculated index has been used since the 60s. The index is calculated with a price change for all units with more than one recorded sale by regressing changes in rent prices on the change in time between the two transactions. The coefficients from this regression form the basis for month-to-month changes reflected in index values. Yada, 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 yada. This chart right here is what we want, right? Frankly. Hey, Jermax, how are you doing? I guess the thing is that I thought that we were going to see these two. It was good. How are you? Yes, we're having a little bit of difficulty here, but I think I'm coming to a conclusion. My conclusion is we don't know. So I thought that I would see that this one was clearly lagged version of this one. But that's not really the case, is it? They're related, but they're not directly proportional. So basically the gist of it is Zillow observed rent index turning over this year does not necessarily mean that owner equivalent rents should be turning over now too. What do you think, Akshay? Am I wrong? That's the conclusion. That's what I'm coming in here. That's just a change in the rent increase, though. You still have an increase, just at a slower pace. Right. So your inflation is still going up through. So, anyways, I mean, the reason it matters is because the rent in owner equivalent rents from CPI is the thing that seems to be one of the biggest things driving inflation right now. And so if Zillow rent index shows things coming down, then we should see owner equivalent rents. And I think that what we're learning here is that that's not necessarily the case. Like I thought that this is just the lagged version of this. It's a little bit more complicated than that. And so even though the rents might not be increasing as much, they are still increasing. And so this data series that you have down here can continue to still be high as well. And so the theory that the next CPIs should be lower, or that the rent shelter component of it should be lower. You either need a 0 or a negative figure on that to have lower readings on CPI, just on this metric. Other subparts of the CPI might still drag on up or down. Yeah, well, okay, so another thing was on that chart that we were looking at, I didn't just close it. No, it was right here. they're like 17.15. What does that actually mean? That must be year over year inflation amount. Must be what that is right there, huh? Instead of month over month. Yeah, because 0.7 times 12 would be about, 6.6, I think that's right. Of course, there's been some that were less than 0.7, so 6.6, that sounds about right. Could be year over year what's smoothing it out, yeah. So, but anyways, so if we do say, okay, so this one is the amount of inflation that's way is, so this isn't like the outright prices. This is the change basically, log change. Okay, same with this one, right? And everybody's been saying or been telling me that this data series, this yellowish one, lags this reddish. I don't know what color that is. Sorry, I can't. It's not big enough for me to really tell. But this one leads by about 6 months, is what we thought. But when we come over and we look at things over here, there's not like a clear lag between them. Like here in the pandemic, they both started going down at the same time. Here, when the things started going up, they both seemed to turn up at the same time as well. Now, maybe we could say that this was the bottom. So this was October of 2020 is when we started seeing Zillow rents rise. And we didn't start to see these other ones until February. So October, November, December, January, February. 4 months lag based on that. So here again, if it's like a 6 month lag, it started to drop in February. So it's been 8 months now that Zillow observed rent index has been declining, and we don't see it in the shelter component of CPI. So I don't think that is very supportive of the theory that consumer price index shelter will start to decline. Right? I think that it suggests that the two measures, there's a little bit more nuance to it, and that it's totally possible to see the Zillow observed rent index come all the way down and the owner equivalent rents not. Right? So perhaps, for instance, the owner equivalent rents, Zillow observed rent index, perhaps landlords were just asking too much, and they were advertising that, but that's not actually what people were paying. And so this decline down in here does not necessarily reflect that people are going to start paying less. It's really a reflection that people were not paying these higher prices, and those numbers are coming back to reality, but that this number might even back out and flatten out, essentially. In other words, November, December is still going to be concerning, right? Is what I think the gist of it is. So, coming back to our version of the chart. So again, the first rise that we see in CPI is in November of 2020. And the first rise that we see on this one is in July. Right? So it's a 4-month difference over here as well. And it's been 8 months. The only problem, I think, would be variance in their samples. The BLS has a set of 50K households that it calls and checks, correct? If I recall, I think it's more than 50K, but I thought it was 500, but you're right. I recall, they change about a fourth of the sample every 6 months. So I think what it is, here's what I think. Yeah. So I think that they have 500K households and they only check 50K of them each month. And then like it changes every 6 months or not that they change the each individual house is only sampled every 6 months. And each month they kind of cycle between them is what I think they do. So because like the whole thing is that the rent isn't going to change unless your lease has come up or you moved. And that's why it would be lagged, right? It would be lagged, but lagged by how much? A year? You know, like when you come in and you say that it's lagged, then you kind of have to like trying to use CPI as a metric to determine when inflation has been beaten is like insane, is like total insanity, right? Like total insanity. But it seems to me that you can't use the Zillow index. It seems to me like the Zillow index has its own problems, right? Like you can kind of see it here on this one because it's not smooth maybe. But if I kind of smooth it out, let me use black, right? We kind of got a smoothing here. Whereas this one, we've kind of got a like, right? So it could be that this is still just like this, right? Oh, it is 50K. Okay. I wasn't sure about the number of them. The thing that I was pretty sure about was that each household only gets sampled every 6 months. This is the kind of stuff that we want in our book, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, rents are collected on about 50,000. No, I hear. So they would do it this way. Owner equivalent rents. Methodology. The CPI program collects rent data from each sampled unit every 6 months. Many rents change infrequently, being locked in place for a given lease term, and collecting rent data less frequently allows for a larger sample. Most rents included in the sample are continuing rents, and only a minority of observations are rents which have changed since the previous observation period. The CPI program divides each area's rent sample into 6 subsamples called panels. Rents for Panel 1 are collected in January and July, Panel 2, February and August, etc. BLS contacts owner-occupied units only during consumer expenditure survey in order to derive item area expenditure weights. Owner-occupied units are not interviewed in the housing survey. The housing survey sample contains only rental units. When a rental unit is on panel, CPI data collectors obtain the current rent, what additional services are included, and information on any changes to the rent or the rent that has occurred since its previous pricing. Like just the fact that it's, 6 months that rents are collected for the same housing units every 6 months. Consequently, each time CPI observes the rent of a sample unit, it is 6 months older. To account for this aging, an age bias factor is applied to the current rent. For additional information about this process. Oh, that's interesting. So they basically say, Like, how long have you been paying this rent for? And they do this complicated math to adjust for it. So they are, in their methodology, trying to adjust for the lag, essentially. Either way, the theory that future, like if we were to say that the theory is November CPI will be lower, or let's be more specific, that the shelter component of November CPI will be lower because the Zillow observed rent index has been declining for the last 8 months. I'm going to say no. Or rather not no, but I'm not going to say that will be very predictive. Because it seems to me that these two metrics are different enough. And that what we're really seeing here is not that there's been an overall decline in rents being paid, but rather that landlords were charging really, really high rents and they had to bring them back down because people weren't getting into those houses. But that the amount that people are actually paying has not really been declining. We continue to see inflation above 2%, essentially. And so while we might not get 0.7%, or it's probably still going to be well above the 0.3% that you'd want for the near foreseeable future, right? And like the issue is that you get like, oh yeah, it's not like 10% year over year, but it's like 5% year over year, something like that, right? But it's simply not the case that this is blah. It's simply not the case that this is just a lagged version of this. It's not. This is a little bit different. This one probably overextended, but there probably is a lag too. But we're already kind of caught up to the point where this kind of came back into line. This one right here, it goes back down to the bottom because we don't have a data sample for that one. That's why I think they're... I mean, people send their income tax checks wrapped in fish. I am sure an angry tenant is telling them current rent. Yeah. It's really interesting data, though, isn't it, actually? But I should also note, though, that what I'm seeing right here in ZY is not... That's not the actual ZY index. It's something else. It's the ZY index for just the country. And I would have to go through and do all of their fancy math that they say here in their methodology. I don't understand why in the data that Zillow presents that they don't just give you the value of the index. That's so freaking weird. Like, what the heck? What the hell, Zillow? Okay, well, I've been messing around with spreadsheets. The treasury market has just been getting crushed. Oh yeah, we should save this. Oh, did it not save? Oh well. Oh well. They got crushed hard, yeah. So when I was earlier, I was taking trade. I took this trade up in here and I was like, oh, it's not really working. And then Liz started speaking, right? And they sold pretty crazy. It's about 13,000 net contracts change. So liquidity is pretty light and slippy. The dollar index just completely retraced and the dollar came all the way back up strong. I see the Japanese yen getting crushed, and yeah, the British pound went up and then right back down, and same with the euro. So that's really interesting. So was there something that Liz said that the market really didn't like? Let's come in and view Zero Hedge and see if I missed something during all of that. Because I thought that her speech was pretty weird. I don't know what the Scott Gottlieb response to Alex Benson claims of Twitter censorship influence. No, it's not. Liz Truss is now speaking, so they don't have anything on like why maybe they don't like it. Oh, we had University of Michigan inflation expectations too. That was that further decline there. 1 year, oh geez, 1 year inflation preliminary. They were expecting 4.6 and they got 5.1. Although the 5-year inflation, they're only 2.9 versus 2.8 and previous 2.7. But the University of Michigan expectations was slightly lower, so 56.2 versus 58.3. But then the conditions was a little bit higher at 65.3 versus 59.6. So the treasuries did seem to add to the selling off that. There was a bit of a recovery and then they came back up here. So I think I'm still in a, I don't know if I really want to touch it kind of an area. Of course, we were all the way back here, so there was like 10 basis points or more in it. But I wanted to do that data and I didn't want to trade today. To be honest with you. So let's come over to Twitter and see. Mohammed A. El Arian, Christine Lagarde joins Janet Yellen and Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey in warning about financial stability risks. Important as the policy challenge of balancing inflation and growth issues becomes a lot more complex if financial stability is also in play. If this guy is still the same guy as the London Olympics, I might move back to UK. Oh, you're talking about the new chancellor that she's replacing him with? Fed's Dally, we are committed to rebalancing demand and supply. Fed's George, my concern has been that we are dealing with some very aggressive rate moves that will take time to work their way through the economy. Fed's Dally, labor market needs to cool further. People anticipate a shallow, not a deep slowdown. That's true. Most likely the top Fed's funds rate was 4.5% to 5%, says Fed's Dally. This has all been in like the last 5 minutes. For the first time since March, U.S. 1-year inflation expectations have risen. All right. By the way, did we see cryptocurrencies get crushed? Not super hard, but... And the S&P 500 has been a sell. If you had to ask me like a trade for this morning, I think that it would have been... Well, actually, no. I wasn't sure about what the UK stuff. If the UK thing wasn't in play, I would have said that the play today is probably sell the S&P, huh? Well... I'm not getting a whole lot of commentary on the whole Liz Truss thing. It's like they're just selling because the event happened and not because there was something about the way that it happened that the market didn't like or something like that. I'm not seeing any evidence for that, at least. What's this? Citadel's billionaire CEO Ken Griffin says investors are giving up on Bitcoin, NFTs, and meme stocks is good for the economy. Yeah, that's not something you should be saying, Ken. That's just gonna piss people off. Okay, so more taxes equals bad. Well, it's just leaving the previous taxes in place. I don't know. This kind of whole move down. I mean, I saw it happening as I was going through. I was hyper focused on the chart. Do you think I should have tried trading it? Nah, I don't think I would have tried trading it because I really don't understand why it's dropping, to be honest with you. I continue. You know what's frustrating me a lot lately is that, you know, I'm on medication for my ADHD, and I think that the medication does generally a good job, but I still constantly find myself noticing the negatives of my tendencies that are really a result of the ADHD. Like if I get on something, whether it is I'm talking about a particular subject or I'm doing a programming thing or whatever the deal is, I don't switch, right? I don't sit down and say, oh, like something happened, I should come back and start trading, right? I just check out and I do that thing and I miss opportunities because of it. Or like when I get in a position, I just like hold really tight to that position. It's hard to get me to jump out of them, especially when it's a live trade. It's just, you know, it's all that sort of a thing. I'm not as focused. Well, so this weekend is going to be a little bit of a test because it's just me right now. The babies are not home right now. So I won't have any distractions. How much do I get done when I don't have any distractions at all? We'll see. We'll see if I get all these things that I've been saying I'm going to do done. Germany is nationalizing companies. Netherlands is capping gas prices. Italy is a voice of reason for once. Listen. Are you a country that is suffering from high inflation? Oh man, yeah, it's inflation is crazy and it's not even winter yet. Like, what are we going to do? Have you tried not spending so much fucking money? Oh, like seriously, like this is what's going on over there in Europe. I don't get it. It's like, oh, we have like really high energy inflation. What are we gonna do? I know, we'll just pay everybody's bills. What? Are you insane? Like, there's two issues with that. Is three issues. Number one, you give no incentive for producers to produce more. Number two, they're going to try and get as much as they can out of you, right? No incentive for people to use less energy because the government's going to spend it all, and you're just going to balloon your deficits and create more inflation. Like, it's just like crazy.
Cook says the labor market.
Man, there's this guy. I don't like saying go follow these guys on LinkedIn because LinkedIn's not supposed to be a website like that, and these guys don't have Twitter, so I think that's on purpose. So I don't like to use names with the people I follow on LinkedIn. But there's this one guy that I'm following that is a trader for Cargill in the Netherlands, and he is so good. Oh my gosh, this is like just one of the smartest minds out there on commodities trading, and the stuff that he says every day about what they're doing in the Netherlands about like these high energy prices and everything are very, very concerning to me. Like on one hand, it's concerning to me that the politicians are that stupid. On the other hand, it's concerning to me that things have kind of moved so far left on the economic front that there's people that actually think that those are okay policies, you know? And then there's just the what is actually going to happen from it all. I really concerns me. Now, supposedly, we've dealt with the energy issues for
But
this
says that I
winter. No, it's not Thomas.
arguing in favor
Abel
of
and
a different inflation target.
I tell you what, Akshay, you go and add me on LinkedIn and message me, and then I'll tell you who it is, okay? Go add me on LinkedIn, message me, and then I'll tell you who it is, because I really like this guy. Really like this guy. Oh, you don't have it. There you go. That's the problem. That's the problem. I think it was so funny.
Core inflation has been.
So this keeps happening to me. Tell me, guys, is there something I'm doing? Is there something about the way that I say things that is like really obvious that everybody else can see but me, and just nobody ever says anything about it? Because I'm frequently finding myself asking that. So it's like, is my stream just that much more boring or offensive than other streams, or is YouTube throttling me? You know, am I just that bad at what I'm saying that everybody hates it, or are retail traders just shitheads? You know, I don't know anymore. I feel like I'm being gaslit all the time.
I do not favor raising.
I feel like somebody's trying to gaslight me all the time. Let me show you an example here. Okay. Man, this one is like I should name all of the cargo guys in the Netherlands. No. He's like senior trader.
Very tight.
So that'll narrow it down. That'll narrow it down for you. The only way to know is to start a new channel. Well, but that's the thing, is like I have trouble on TikTok too. And I wouldn't get more view. I don't think that I'd get more viewers on Twitch, because Twitch just doesn't give you any discoverability. Like, that's the whole thing, is why does YouTube give me less discoverability? Is it because I'm a known quantity and so people come in, check on what I'm doing, and then leave? And it sees that as low engagement. Maybe you need hair. Oh, Jeremax, you're always a hoot. I miss you. Okay, so I made a post. Let me read this post. I posted this on Futures.io.
Times require risk management.
Need water.
Policy.
Keeping an eye on the treasuries here, but they're recovering
And
decently
inflation,
so far.
Inflation actually falling in data.
You just showed up mid rant. No, this is the beginning of the rant here, okay? Hold on. Markets are statistically efficient, which means it is difficult to find an edge from just looking at a chart. If a consistent pattern is found, it is quickly removed from the markets by people trading on the signal, and the end result is a market that is difficult to distinguish from a random walk. When confronted with this reality, I often see traders react, well, if that's true, then why bother trading at all? It is a sad state of affairs when traders cannot imagine anything beyond their charts. For the same reason that markets are very statistically efficient, they are not very informationally efficient, meaning that the current market price does not include all available information. Every trade has impact, and many of the largest trades have no informational content behind them. Instead of the volume being a vote on the state of the economy, it could just be the fund rebalancing. Such volume is essentially random, but it still moves price far from fundamental value. In other words, there can still be information that predicts which direction markets will move that day that isn't fully priced into the markets.
Says that at some point it would be appropriate to slow.
The most abundant source of edge available to retail traders today is based on what they know about the markets. What affects supply and demand in that market? What is the current state of the economy? What are major research analysts projecting? What is the current market sentiment? Are there economic releases today? What breaking news might be lurking out there? How do large funds manage their investments? How do market makers hedge their options positions? And yet such discussion is almost always completely absent from the popular trading discussion forums. Instead, the trading community has become a cargo cult, chasing after the past performance of technical analysis traders that, for all we know, just got lucky. Far too many words have been wasted on discussing the movement of a random line that could have been spent learning about the actual business of the market. That was my rant. That was my post. Okay. First reply. This guy is like, well, the minute I stopped reading news sentiment indicators and closed zero hedge for ideas and started measuring my own trading, that is when I made the turn from scratch to boom bust to consistent. So basically this person is saying, well, the reason I've been profitable is because I just only focused on technical analysis. Okay, this is somebody that doesn't have very many posts. All right. Next person. I don't mean to intrude on your idea on how trading is supposed to be done, but what I cannot wrap my head around is that trading is not possible without knowing the weather around a particular instrument. That's not true at all. Listen, I can come in here and I can say, will the future orders be buy orders or sell orders? If I know something that tells me that the next set of orders are going to be overwhelmingly sell orders, it doesn't matter what the current price is. All that matters is how many orders it's going to be. That's it. I don't care what the current price is. If I think that they're going to be sells, I sell because I know that there's going to be enough to make a profit on, period. I don't care what the current price is. Anyways, I moved away from ESNQ and now I simultaneously trade natural gas and oil. The only time I proceed with caution is during the EIA reports at 10:30 on their respective days. The rest of the information you speak about, well, it's just passing gas. For me, at least, I don't know about this other guy, but I haven't watched one lick of news or information with regard to any instrument in 20-something years. But I do want to note that I would never tell others technical trading is the only way because I respect other traders' methods. Yeah, okay. He's saying, well, I think you should use technical analysis. Right? Then he quotes me. It is a sad state of affairs when traders cannot imagine anything beyond their charts. What is sad is the lack of object permanence in that statement. Anyways, I get a kick out of your post. What the fuck is he talking about?
Recalibration.
Does that make any sense to any of you guys? What is sad is a lack of object permanence, and what is there? Traders think that the only way to make a trading decision is by looking at a chart, and it's not true. What does that have to do with object permanence?
It's we don't.
What the hell is he saying? Does that make sense to any of you? Right? Like I constantly come into these posts where it's like these people sound like they think they're smart and they know what they're doing and like look, this guy only has 16 posts, 22 posts. This guy only has 9 posts, okay? But they're talking like, well, I've been profitable for years and years and years, and this is what I've done. Like that's what I mean, they don't say that, but that's kind of like the attitude that I get from reading their posts. But then like they say shit that just makes absolutely zero. There's a lack of object permanence in that statement. What the fuck is he talking about? One or both of us is stupid. That's my conclusion here. One or both of us is stupid here. It's either me, I'm either stupid and he's a genius, or he's a genius, or what did I just say? Either he's a genius and I'm stupid, or I'm a genius and he's stupid, or we're both stupid. But like that statement makes no sense to me at all. None of you guys are saying anything, so you guys must think that it's nonsense too, or you don't understand. So object permanence is like when you are a baby and I'm playing with the rattle here and you're like, oh, that rattle's so cool. And then when I put the rattle behind my back, the baby forgets that the rattle even exists. So babies do not have object permanence. So once a child reaches around 9 months to a year old, they will then recognize, they will have object permanence. And when that thing comes back, or when that thing goes away, they'll try and look for it and be like, well, no, I want the rattle. Where to go? Right? My baby right now is starting to gain object permanence. He's starting to gain object permanence. I think it happens between 6 and 9 months.
It's George says that we need caution about aggressive moves in the context of.
I know for a fact because I have a certificate that says 77 IQ, and that thing made no sense to me. There's no way that you have a 77 IQ. There's no way. Wait, how did you? What did you take to get a 70? Where did you take this IQ test? You said that before, and I said it was ridiculous, right? But now I'm looking at it, and I'm really like, that's ridiculous, right?
Visco says a global recession can't be ruled out.
Like, if you have an IQ below 80, I think it is, you're not allowed to be in the military, right? And here actually is telling me, oh yeah, just use log returns of the data series and yada yada. That is not a 77 IQ person. You must have like misunderstood. I told you my university made me take it. The provost was like, you aren't fit to peel potatoes for the army. There's no way that your IQ is 77. That's so weird. You must have like screwed up. Like maybe you got like off one on the bubble sheet or something like that and answered them all wrong or something. Maybe you should go and retake. Watch. We're gonna make him go and retake it. I tell you what, if you go if you go and take an IQ test from Mensa, I'll go and take an IQ test from Mensa and we'll compare. And like, watch, we're gonna come back and Akshay is actually like a 110 or something like that. And this whole time he thought that he wasn't even fit to peel potatoes for the army. Oh man. Reiner, thanks for stopping by. I got 97 was IV test. I think that if I was on medication, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about IQ tests. In fact, I've read a lot of stuff from Nassim Taleb that makes me think that maybe IQ tests are just total bullshit. But I will take the university one next year around admission season. Oh, okay. But I'm going to guess, 100 is the average, right? And I'm going to guess that I'm right on average. So I think that there are some parts of my intelligence that are probably higher than average, like considerably so, but there are other parts that are a little bit lower than average. So depending on whether or not I had my medication, I'll probably be between 100 and 105. That's my guess. But they always say that all the people that are really smart, they think they're average and they'll take it and I'll be like 120 or something. But I don't know. I kind of think that maybe taking an IQ test is probably not it can kind of just give you ego, right? Anyways, the subject at hand here was what? I posed this thing, and I just, the things that people say back to me are like, what the hell is going, like, it's total BS. I don't, right? And so then I come here on YouTube and I'm like, well, yeah, but people don't, I'm not doing so well on YouTube recently. Actually, the channel has been growing. That's the weird thing, I guess, is that the stream isn't doing very well, but the YouTube is doing quite well. There was new lows, man. Guess I should have taken it. They waited for me to get in on a, I'm not going to take a trade. There's no way I was going to take a trade at like 8:30, but where are we compared to yesterday now? Not anywhere even close. Oh, yeah, okay. So yesterday we got all the way to almost 110. So I guess if they really wanted to do a bender of a move still, they could get there. So I don't know. I sit there and I ask all the time, if there's something I'm doing that's like really obvious to everybody and they're just not telling me. But you're not saying anything, so it must not be.
The
must not be.
Bank says it purchased 1.3
It must be the case.
billion
It
pounds
must
until
be
the
the
final
case
frame.
that people are just shitheads. Sorry. Sorry, future IO member. I just think that what you said makes zero sense. It's like, okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to be better at influencing people and making content that's engaging and stuff, right? And no, that popped back up real quick, didn't it? And I do think that I can be like very negative and critical, but it's just like so wild to me. I can come in and I can say like, look, here are the things that are really predictive of price, and they're just not interested in it. You know what I mean? Like here's the problem. Technical analysis traders have been taught that the best way for them to trade is to focus purely on the technical analysis and forget about anything else. Like, don't even read the news.
Also,
like, don't even read the news.
Total emergency bond buying reaches 19.25 billion pounds on the final day.
Put your camera on the bottom right, and that'll change things. What? What? Okay. You don't have make millions with 1,000% returns daily and neon signs covering health. Yeah. Yeah. If I mean, there'd be no question. If I went in and I said I made $80,000 today in a big thumbnail and everything, yeah, that would be like my most popular video ever, for sure. It totally would be. Totally would be. And let's just say that I somehow did something crazy, like I started adding contracts like every price, and in the end it ended up being like 1,000% winner sort of a thing, right? And I did that and I made a video about it. Yeah, 100% it'd be like the most popular video ever. But I don't do that for two main reasons. One, I don't think it's ethical. I think that luring people in with a thumbnail that could potentially give them false expectations of gains is unethical. Like, I get that it's clickbait and everybody on YouTube does that, but when we're talking about like investments and financial decisions that people make, it's just unethical to put stuff like that in a thumbnail that could potentially lead them to you know, believe incorrect things like that, even unintentionally, right? So that's problem number one. Problem number two is that I think that it would be detrimental to the channel overall. So the reality is that there are some things that we can do that we can get away with because we're a small channel, right? Like, if I was a big channel, it would be a lot more difficult to give you guys all individual attention, right? It would be difficult for me to get to know you people on an individual basis. Like, every name that I read there, Jeremax, Matthew, Ray, Sizzle, I can think back about the things that you've said and things that I know about you, and you know things that I might say that might be helpful to you at that particular time, and so on and so forth, right? And we wouldn't be able to do that if it was super popular. Like, I would like the stream to be like 50 viewers, probably not more than 50 viewers.
We are not an
and
in isolation.
if it was really popular, like if I was in a situation where we were getting like 1,000 viewers a day, like I think that Matt is like getting 1,000 viewers now at this point, right? I would not be able to trade the same way with 1,000 people. Exactly. So put your cam in a better spot to watch.
Because we are very aware of international.
Just buy like deep out of the money option, you know, the ones that go up 500% with 1 point move, and just show the percentage gain. Well, I could go back and show my percentage gain on oil that I got where I made $1,000. I mean, come on. That was a good one.
Cook says, I'm not seeing general deterioration in credit quality.
I could have gotten so much more on that trade too. That's the funny thing about that one. read the charts and then watch. Yeah. Anyway, you guys got me off subject. The problem with technical analysis is that the technical analysis teachers tell people to do the exact opposite of what I'm doing. So I want to come in and say, look, what you're doing in technical analysis isn't very effective. Come and do this. Okay. So if I say your methods suck, right? Nobody wants to listen to that. And it doesn't matter how nice I say it. Doesn't matter how nice I say it. The end result, it's inescapable that what we're trying to tell them is that their methods of trading are less effective, essentially. Right? So they're going to be resistant to that overall. So it's like, I can't say anything negative about it. I mean, I make videos because I love doing it, but if we're really trying to convince people, probably the best thing is to not say anything about it at all, right? And just say,
out of 100 equaling
do our thing and show the effectiveness of it, I guess you could say, right? But then the issue with that is that, again, they're told to ignore all. They're told to ignore all news. So if they come here on this stream and they see that I'm talking about the breaking news and the economic news and stuff like that, and I'm not talking about the chart, then they're not interested and they go away. So there's like no way to reach those people. It's the wildest thing. It's like they're in a cult, and anything that we do to try and drag them out of the cult just makes it worse. That's how I feel. That's how I feel it is battling technical analysis. Ray says, "Oh, you would need to do weird stuff you probably don't like. Trader TV Live does a good job of luring people in and making live trades people can copy your target." Yeah, it's true. So you're right that I think that another big factor here is that people that click in on these kinds of streams are looking for somebody to shadow. And when they don't see, when I kind of behave in a way where it's hard to shadow me because I don't want you to do that. I don't say, you know,
but I'm mindful the economy.
They'll come in and they'll say, okay, so we see this chart pattern, etc., etc. So we are now going to take a trade at this price, and here's our target and our stop. And anybody that's listening, they know what the trade is and they can take it too. You're right. It has technical in its name, is probably based on math or something and very sophisticated.
Fed's Cook says, I wish the Fed has...
But that's why you get to make money. It's true.
Ratio of black unemployment.
Like, it's not like I'm making millions of dollars, but I've been doing pretty good this year. I'm pretty happy with what I've done so far this year. Really, really happy with it, actually. I mean, it's in line with my goals.
For me, I am in a camp of
and maybe next year we can start sizing it up.
See lags in our policy.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, the thing is, I wonder about the stream sometimes, and it's not because I'm like like we really need this to be more popular, etc., etc. It's kind of more like
in the future.
I feel like I'm working really hard and I'm doing a lot of good things, and I'm not necessarily seeing the rewards that I typically should, and so I can't help but wonder that I'm doing something very massively wrong and we're just not noticing, right? But when you go and you look at the YouTube videos themselves, my channel actually does exceptionally well. There are many other channels in this space that should perform better than me, and they don't on VODs. So I think that I've done a really good job at learning how to make the talking head video, especially the ones that I've made this year, because I've learned how to get people engaged in the first 30 seconds of the video and all of that sort of thing, and it really has shown up in the stats, and those videos tend to perform over time once people start to find them through search. And I hope my price action is garbage video has been trending higher than any other video. The rate of growth is not higher, but like the base level of views has been higher.
Prices from supply side.
Dalton said you'd be lucky to break even again after 2 years in futures. Yeah. Well, my understanding is that Dalton doesn't trade it. You need to target people who do or want to trade professionally for a living. Most retail doesn't want to do that. They trade on the side. Maybe. I mean, maybe that's one thing that I undermine myself with too, is that I tell people that you don't really want to do it professionally. And that it's not really realistic for that to be your sole source of income. I say that all the time. Guys, I've got to get going. I will see you on Monday. Hopefully we have a video. I don't know for sure if we'll have a video on Monday or not, but I'm going to get a lot done either way. So I will see you then. It was good chatting. With Liz reverses. And that's the title for today. Stay excellent, team.